Hello everyone and welcome to my review of My Island. This is the sort of sequel, or almost second sequel to My City, because there was the My City roll and write in the middle of them. Well, it replaces the normal polyomino shapes with hexagonal tiles. Let's go over roughly how this legacy game plays, though I won't really be spoiling anything. I'll sort of touch on how the standard game goes and then maybe hint towards things that might come out but not actually reveal what they are, and then I'll give you my pros and cons, as well as would I sort of recommend this or the original My City for you to play. Let's jump into it. So in My Island you are, just like in My City, going to be placing tiles onto your own player board. Everyone has the same set of hexagonal shaped tiles and combinations of hexagons to make up these different shapes. There's different types of hexagons, so you've got roads and villagey sort of tiles and field tiles and stuff that you're going to want to be either like grouping up or maybe going surrounding each other and different things like that throughout the course of the game to score different points. So you're playing over 24 games, different rules are going to be coming out, new components are going to be coming out, but at the core of it, on a sort of round, someone's going to turn the top card over from the deck and you're placing that tile onto your board. At the very beginning, that's almost all you're doing. You're trying to cover up the beach tiles on your board, the beach spaces, because they'll lose you a point. If you can't place a tile or you don't want to place a tile, it loses you a point. And well, at the beginning, there's not many ways to actually gain points. But like I alluded to, soon you'll want to maybe have a blob of roads or a big field, and maybe that will gain you points or other things along the way. Being a legacy campaign-y sort of style game, well, there's many things that carry across the experience. There's things that come out of the envelope, such as stickers, that you are going to be adding to the board, but we're not going to touch on what they actually are. Just know that things are going to come out that will make permanent changes to your boards. You're also going to be getting progress dots. So effectively, whoever wins a game, they're going to get more progress dots than the person in second place, third place and last place will probably not get any, that sort of thing, although it depends on which of the 24 games you're actually playing, and you go through them in order. There's also other things that come up, special objectives that maybe if you do it first in a game, well, you get a progress dot, but you don't get points for doing that. So there's things that maybe drag you away, and it's those progress dots that you're really aiming to get over the course of all of the games. That's kind of what the points translate into, and then there's sort of, as you go along, new ways to earn those progress dots, maybe even lose some progress dots, and that's kind of like the tally alongside all of the individual games. So let's start with the very obvious thing, and well, it might not be obvious to you if you've not played the original My City, but the game has shifted from polyominoes, which are square Tetris-y-like shapes, to hexagonal things. And well, that's a nice refreshing change for anyone like me that's played through My City and My City Roll and Write. Well, moving away from the squares, moving to hexagons, it does mean, certainly towards the start, it does feel fresh, it feels different. You've all of a sudden, you've got two additional faces, two different directions that you can be doing connections on, and well, you've got that sort of adjacency in different directions rather than just up, down, left, right. Now, at the start of the experience, I think that does help keep it fresh. It makes it feel new and different if you've played the other ones. However, it does also mean that it's maybe a little bit more sort of complex, and it does certainly ramp up, I think, more in My Island than My City in complexity, because almost it's got more directions in a hexagon than a square. And now, I think it's maybe more the spatial awareness around a hexagon is, well, maybe it's just we're not as used to it because a lot of polyomino shaped games are just around Tetris shapes rather than hexagons. but it does sort of slow down a little bit more as you're really thinking to do with 6 different directions around one sort of space rather than just 4. And it just takes a little longer for you to think about spatially on the board in front of you than if it was just squares. That added complexity is going to be really great for some people and not so great for others. And well, I think we're kind of a little bit in the middle of that, and we certainly enjoyed the freshness of not squares at the beginning, but by the end, some of the games we were definitely taking a few turns quite slow. Ooh, if I rotate this shape, if I put that there, oh, but I want to leave that space open for that shape. Oh, no, that doesn't fit because that flip doesn't have the colours in the right order and different things like that. So you just go into it knowing that it is a little bit more to think about. While the game is described as a legacy game, I don't know if I would necessarily say there's too much legacy about it. We found often you're kind of playing on the same board, and yes, from one game to another you might be altering your map, and the next game there's something to do with what you did in the last game, but over the course of the 24 games it was never the fact like in the original. It felt like once you'd put something down on your board it kind of mattered for most of the rest of the sort of legacy experience. In this it kind of felt at times that, oh, I've put this sticker down on the board or I've done this thing that's going to maybe help me, but it actually only ends up helping you for the next couple or 3 games, and then in some way it's either removed or something else comes out that changes that up and it's not really what you thought it was going to be anymore. This means that there's sort of much more stuff coming in that changes things a bit more fresh, and it means that you're not sort of always able to utilize something that you think, oh, I'm going to put this here, it's going to be really good forever, and it means you're not always gaining that benefit. But it also means, conversely, there's slightly less of a catch-up here. It means you can seemingly get some very different scores. We certainly found with the progress dots between the two of us that it was quite obvious towards the latter half of the campaign that one of us was well ahead of the other. And that doesn't necessarily make you want to carry on playing because it's close. We still wanted to play because we enjoyed the polyomino placement, but it does mean that the person behind doesn't necessarily see that, oh, I've got this stuff to help me catch up anymore. And that sort of feels a little odd, and from what I can tell from what other people have reported, they found something similar even in a 4-player game where maybe one player was pulling ahead or maybe one person in their group was sort of lagging behind, and that person didn't find or sort of see an opportunity back. And while, yeah, I kind of get the idea that you shouldn't sort of just artificially be boosted right back up into the mix all the time by games, in a legacy experience like this you do want it to be relatively close, and My City seemed to do it a little bit more, where the person that lost one game got a benefit that was going to help them at least get closer, if not win, the next one. So that just felt a bit more, it felt a bit harder, a bit harsher almost for the person that gets behind to catch up. One thing that can be said is it's really satisfying when you're actually playing and you're sort of working through, oh, I need this tile here, that tile there. If I can get that hexagon colour, that green hexagon there, oh, it's going to be really great for me. It might link that objective, it might score this group here as well if I put the perfect tile down. And you can really pray, oh, they're turning a card over. Oh, it's not the right one. Oh, I can squeeze that over here. Don't worry, I don't have to fill the gap that I'm leaving for this perfect tile. So I'm going to put that there. They turn the next one over. Oh, it's still not, but I can... okay, I'm going to take the hit. I'm going to lose a point, not place that tile. And then they turn another one over, and it's the one you're waiting for. And sometimes it can come down to like the last card of the deck and you're like, it's got to be this one. There's no more cards, so I know I can do this. And other times it's like, I'm going to be losing a lot of points if it's the last card. Do I risk it? and you can calculate, is it worth it? And sometimes it's just so satisfying when that piece does come out. You can put it exactly where you want it, or maybe you've made that frustratingly good or bad choice of, okay, I'm just going to put something else there, and then the next card that comes out the deck was the one you should have waited for. That's a really cool choice that it puts on players, and you get that great sort of frustration if you've changed your mind and not gone for it, or you get that great buzz of, yes, the perfect piece has come out. I really do like that, and it you know, everyone's cheering almost for a different piece, but always using the same pieces from the deck. The way you've put them, it then starts to mean, oh, I need this road piece to connect over here. And they're like, well, I don't want a road piece to connect over there, because for me, that's field over there, because I've rotated the tiles slightly different. I've used them in a different pattern. So it is cool when your tile comes up. That's nice and satisfying when it does. Much like the original, there is sort of a progression in this campaign experience. The first few games, it feels very much like a tutorial. That first game, it feels really like mostly just placing some tiles down, some hexagonal tiles down, and that's about it. There's not many scoring conditions for you to sort of either complete or trying to avoid some negative points. But as you start opening those envelopes, more opportunities come. Some go and are replaced by others, and then maybe new components come out that you're interacting with. Whatever you've done on your board, it maybe triggers something else. And, well, it does add up. And it could mean that if you sort of pause massively between games, you might have to reread a few of the sort of rule booklets. And there were a couple of times where the rules were a little vague on, well, you remember this rule that you've been doing for the last few games? Does it or doesn't it matter here? Do we score the points for that blob of colours anymore? There was a few times where we just felt that we had to sort of make a decision as a group to be like, yes, we're going to say that scoring thing is still in for this round, but mostly, you know, it sort of just progresses you from the very start, which is too easy, through to the end where there's a lot of different opportunities scoring for you or things for you to avoid. So as an overall and also as a comparison to the original, we very much have enjoyed My Island. The freshness of the hexagonal tiles and the sort of some of the complexities that they bring we liked, but I do think that I maybe preferred My City. In My Island's defence, I think that's also because we played My City first. We kind of saw some of the legacy surprises in that experience, and it meant that a few of the times when stuff came out of the envelopes in My Island, we were like, oh yeah, we remember when something similar happened in the other game. But we enjoyed the other game, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means maybe because there were some less sort of surprises from the content coming out. It didn't mean that the game wasn't kept fresh though, but it just maybe took the slight edge of, ooh, an envelope, new stuff away just a tad. If you're looking for a more brain-burning experience, My Island is definitely the one out of the two that's going to give you that little extra complexity. So there we have it. We've enjoyed My Island. We also would highly, highly recommend My City, or even the My City Roll and Write. There's a review for that on the channel as well. So please do go and check that out. And let us know in the comment section below what you've sort of thought of My Island, My City, this family of games. What do you think of it? Let us know in the comment section below. And I hope this review has helped you know, is this going to be an experience for you? Or, you know, would maybe My City be more up your street? Anyway, until next time, have a fantastic, well, now Hexagon, not Polyomino, filled day.